I was reading and I came into Matthew chapter 5, and specifically we're going to talk about verses 23 and 24. But if you look at the verses, kind of directly above and below, that was talking about murder. It was talking about even saying fool from our mouth was considered murder in this scripture. But I want to look at Matthew chapter 5, verses 23 and 24. And this is what it says. It says, "Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, and there you remember that your brother and or your sister has something against you," verse 24, "leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled to them, then come and offer your gift." I want to read that again. "Therefore, if you are offering your gift at the altar, you're at church, you are there to give them your tithes, you are there to give them your heart, your praise, your worship, whatever it is. And there you remember." And so now I am reminding you that your brother or sister has something against you. It says, leave your gift there in front of the altar. First go and be reconciled with them, then come back and offer your gift. I am here, even though it shouldn't take this, but I am going to again remind you that your black brothers and sisters have an issue against you. They have what the King James Version says, an ought against you. And what is that? They have an issue against the way you and our forefathers have treated them. Our black brothers and sisters have an ought against you, for they have shown evidence that you, the white evangelical Christian church, white America, have mistreated their family members all the way up to they themselves now. Here and now. You have done evil against them. You have murdered them physically. You have abused them. You have oppressed them, enslaved them. And so I decided to look up some commentaries just to make sure, that I'm not far off. And I'm going to read to you some of the exact words that I had read in the commentaries. Jesus declares that atonement is not to be made for those offenses by any offerings, how costly soever, and therefore prescribes immediate repentance and reparation as the only remedy.
And over the past few weeks, we've grieved together as the Black community has endured more senseless acts of racial terror and violence. At YouTube, we believe Black Lives Matter, and we all need to do more to dismantle systemic racism. We're committed to doing better as a platform to center and amplify Black voices and perspectives. And we're working to ensure Black users, artists, and creators can share their stories and be protected from hateful, white supremacist, and bullying content. We know there is much more work.
Good afternoon. This is Rudolf from Germany. I am addressing today specifically Afro-American people. I might be probably the first white man, Aryan German man, who is admitting something to you. I took a long time to think about this video which I'm showing you, a very short one, about the white race. Many of you dark-skinned people, in America mainly, have had a suspicion for a very long time. White people are not really human. And this suspicion has been around for a long, long time. And like any suspicion which is around for a long, long time, there is a little bit of truth to it. I want to admit today to you that white people originating from Northern Europe are called not aliens, they are called Aryans. Sorry about that, my brain don't function so well today. These white people are not really human from this earth like black people are, Indian people are, Asian people are. Yes, they are all humans. We white people are actually a minority, and we are, let's face the truth, also called the tall whites. Not all of us are tall, not all of us are completely white, but in general that's what it is. And as some of you may know, the tall whites are not really earthly human, but we're coming out of space, out of another galaxy. We are not human as the rest of the human race. We came here from another star, we white people, in order to control the world. We white people all have a secret code, a secret language under each other. We know, no matter how nice we pretend to be, we all stick together in order to control the other races, particularly the black race. And I am feeling so bad about it by now that I had to speak out here on this video and admit it. White people are not human. White people, including myself, all stick together, know the truth which they do not want to admit to you. White people are out of space. We come from another galaxy. We all know our home planet, which we don't want to reveal because we don't want to be attacked. And we have no good intention with you. We do not want to share our wealth with you. We do not want to share our knowledge with you. You have been mistreated hundreds of years ago, and this is very, very bad. And your chances in life, to the most of you, many of you have no chance in life. You can sit and wait for work on a corner with your other friends, and work will never arrive to you. It's very, very hard, I know. And we rich people, we white people, we alien people don't want to share what we have with you, so you have a good time. This is my testimony in public. White people are from another planet.
Hello and welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. I am your host, the whiteologist, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this is Black Minds News Report. Black Minds News is to report, articulate, transmit, communicate, insinuate, develop, investigate, decode, unveil, spread the news, whether it's by news, video, website, or quote from publications, As I articulate this information, let the creator of the universe be here, heart, soul, mind, and spirit. Because why? The truth don't need no partner. As a descendant of the greatest people who created this land that you call the United States, we, the today's children, offspring, and present generation, we give honor to our ancestors. You know what the motto of my show is? I'm never going to tell you what I heard. I'm only going to tell you what I know. Today's date is July 7th, 2020, and another episode of Black Minds News Report. Have some things that's going in accordance to some news that done broke. Those who are avid watchers and subscribers to the show know when I say I am the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. Ask yourself, can anybody be in the game since 2012, 8 years, and can't get 100 views and think that I don't fit according to what they say them YouTubers are who are suing? I told you I'm going to collect that check. So anyway, we have some other things in the lineup as to, you know, just what the theme of the nation is about. Many people trying to say it's a figure of your imagination. It's not real. Well, that's what your mouth said, right? Well, what done happened here? He done went over there and put it on the screen already. It's all good. We're going to do it and go the way we got to do it anyway. I don't know. He must be eating no breakfast this morning, so he a little fast this morning. So we're going to get into this broadcast. Hey, how's y'all doing, everybody? Again, this is your host, Mr. Blow Your Minds, and welcome to the most hated show in the black corner of YouTube. Been in the business since 2012. You wouldn't be able to tell based on the simple fact of my views. This channel has been suppressed ever since I did this show on April 1st of 2014. A video that went with considered in the black corner of the internet as viral. Hit almost that 300,000 mark, and they came in and said that video can no longer be seen nor played. Not because it broke anything to do with YouTube. It was just the simple fact that that kind of message cannot. And from that day forth, you decided to suppress this channel. And you've been doing that the whole time. But I knew the day was going to come when we're going to be able to deal with this. And we'll be seeing you soon. Because when they get done with it, you'll be seeing me. So whoever it is that keep coming in here, listen to the video, how you get it all set up. As we say over here in the black corner, cut the check. So anyway, first and foremost, I want to say what's good to my fam, my subscribers, my day ones who've been with me, and a lot of you fair weather friends who come in and come out. Maybe it's you two doing it. Probably most likely because I get some subscribers, and the next thing you know, 1, 2 leave, 3 leave. You so offended about what I'm saying. I ain't gonna get it to you. But anyway, thank you for being a subscriber, clicking on that button. Passerbys, if you happen to pass by, this is the most hated show that you can find on YouTube. There is no show that is more hated on YouTube than this one. Show me somebody who can be in the game 8 years, can't get 100 views, and then sit there trying to make it seem like, oh, ain't nobody trying to watch you. Well, why you got to rig the game? Why the game got to be rigged then, huh? Anyway, go down the aisle. We always got a grand opening. Happen to see some things that make you feel some kind of way. Remember, the motto of my show is the truth. Don't need no partner. Now, what you seen in the beginning there, you seen a white man tell you, those of his kind and likeness, that in the Bible, in Matthew's, that it talks about bringing your offerings to the altar. Meaning, you know how they say there's good white folks? There's good white folks, they say, who obey, who don't hate, they go to church, right? And you can't tell the difference in the barrel when you look at all the apples. So the Bible says that it's cutting right down the middle, and it said each and every one of you. It don't matter whether you're on this side or that side. But you like coming to me, praising me, showing people your showy display of one means, showing that you have a conviction of being a follower of Christ and the Bible. But it said, hey, you know your brothers over there got an ought with you, right? Ought, right? They got an ought with you as to what has been systematically done either consciously or unconsciously by this group of yourselves, right? And so it says that what you bring to me is invalid. You know the stuff that you know that y'all been doing, conscious or unconsciously, willing or non-willingly, you know they got a gripe with y'all. You know they got a valid position of why it is what it is. So if you think you're going to come and bypass and not deal with that and think that your so-called supplication and all that to me is going to somehow get you in, well, let me read this prescription for you. You first better take care of that. You better take care of that first, that gripe that they got with you, that disposition you done put on them. Cure that, and the remedy that can only be done, as you heard the man say, that reparations is the only remedy. When you know you are doing things and then try to sit with a straight face, Rudolph said it. This is why you also are so damn mad, is because Rudolph from Germany said he told a secret that y'all don't want to admit. He is the proof that says that what goes on behind closed doors, the system that runs and operates and do everything in its power to keep us from progressing, he said it. Now, do you come from another planet? Well, yeah, you can tell 99% of the truth, and then 1% you just have to somehow can't take the 100, right? But anyway, so let's say if that part isn't right, but let's say if everything else he did say is 100, right? Then what you angry about? Why is this thing that's going across this country right now trying to make it seem like that racism is some figment of our imagination? It's not real. The mitigated gall many of y'all got, and you know the thing is, you never had to look at yourself for what you really are. And then, how can a show like Black Minds News every day show stories after stories after stories after stories if it's all is a figment of our imagination? Let me say that again. How is it that a show that is dedicated to really just bringing the news that is relevant and prevalent to my people? Now, I'm not discriminating, saying that people of other ethnicities and races cannot hear and be participants and subscribe. I'm not saying that at all. But as a people who've been oppressed, and we as BADOS in this land, where is the non-biased, let's say, mediums that are catered solely to the liking and taste of what black people and what they need and so forth? Don't give me the BET ran by some other folks. Don't give me the ESPN because you see a bunch of niggas running and junking and funking and running a goddamn ball. Right? Don't give me that shit. Give me something that is for us, by us, the way you think, the way we, that, does it exist? Ask yourself. And if it do exist, it's kind of like the same thing when you talk about with that Fox Soul situation. Right? Here it was that Fox Soul, the way that it, let's say the way that it advertise itself, right? The way that Fox Soul advertised itself is about black people because they put soul. I got a soul meaning black. You know that, right? Fox got a soul part to now it's news. But we're going to let them sit down and they're going to let them be black. But then when they went to get the ultimate person that's going to speak on that behalf, well, people came in and said some things that said, well, no, he doesn't have the right to speak. Wait a minute. That's a black platform. That's about black issues, black perspective, and the black talk. Why would he not be? Because you have deemed him. See, you don't want to accept the fact that you don't want to admit that you do the things you do. But guess what's being revealed now? All them things that you thought that, again, as Rudolph said, no matter how much we pretend, we all know the truth. Huh? Rudolph said it. We all know the truth. And guess what? It reveals itself. As much as you try to act as like it doesn't. Right? So here it is. White man tells you that reparation is the only remedy that's going to happen. See, maybe what's happening in this land has to be spiritual that may be coming from a high. I ain't going to say no maybe to it. We're going to say that somebody is putting a clamp on this. Somebody is the side that said, as it was talked about, this great harlot, that it was a spectacle to the world that, look, it is falling, it is falling, it is falling. Huh? Maybe that's what's happening here. And remember what Seeley said and Color Purple said, everything that you don't do right by me, nothing you ever gonna do is ever gonna be right. How can y'all go for as long as y'all go and the things that have been going on to this present day? And as you heard that man say, the things that happened from then, we are the same people that was back then. We are the same people we are today. And the same shit that been going on then, the difference in variety and the way the game has changed, we are still there to this day. Are we not? Are we not? So I'm tired of hearing white folks sitting here saying that what's happened to us is a figure of our damn imagination. Then I wouldn't be able to do the shows that I do, and any and many of us, and then you don't have to rig the damn game if what we say is a damn lie, and try to make the scene that it's somehow we're racist because we are showing who your ass is. Right? We show you who you is, and that's somehow we're racist because we saying what you doing. Now, what is wrong with you psychologically? Because nobody can actually evaluate you that you're going to take, because the game is so rigged that even if you went down to sit with him, he going to prescribe you and say nothing wrong with you that they can't deal with. But when you lashing the shit out, who the ones got to absorb and take it? And y'all like to all say, it's just always a hoax. It's a hoax. It's a hoax. Everything's a goddamn hoax, right? Ain't picked up a book, read none. So then, you know, just like I said about the LGBTQ, your gripe ain't with the people of the nation, because if the people are ascribing to the book of an institution that teaches that this is the word of God and the man that they say that was in there is the son of God, and this is what he said, leave as the message, how to. These are the instructions that you use to better one's life and to follow in the, being, let's say this way. This book is the instructions on how you are obedient to that which provided everything, right? And then the book says certain things about certain ways that people living and so forth is abhorrent, abominable. You can't be mad at the people. You got to go to the institution and fight them, right? You got to fight them about what you say they being discriminated to you against, right? So you can't hold them, right? So the same thing here. Y'all want to take the people who, according to the history books and said what done took place, and some of us in our own families have stories that done told us, and say that that's all a lie. It's all a hoax. Racism isn't real. Huh? Who y'all talking to? Y'all trying to talk to them new ones who ain't going to be able to tell you straight up that y'all full of shit. Y'all just full of shit, man. Y'all show y'all things every time y'all get the opportunity. We see it on the daily regular, but then we say that ain't real. That's just that one, right? We see people who come across, as Rudolph said, we pretend to be as nice as we pretend to be, right? And they find a way to intervene and then try to show their little aspect of, what's truly hidden inside one's own, in case they say spirit, I guess, and heart, right? So here's the most hated show on the black corner of the internet. Been suppressed, been at a number for long, can't get this number, and think I done got everything documented. That you don't think that what they talking about in that suit, right? Should I go into that? Let me go into that a little bit, huh? Let me go a little bit into that, all right? Because everybody try to make this is a figure about man. Y'all just making up. This racist is always, you're making up stuff. You're making up stuff. Are we really making stuff up? Are we? Or y'all just always in damn denial? You always in damn denial of everything. You don't admit to nothing, man. That's a sickness in itself. That you always in denial of what you know you are doing. You even heard Rudolph. Rudolph said, hey, man, look, this is who he is, man. This is who he is, okay? This is who he is. No. Don't do that. No, that's not what we want. Do what you're supposed to do, sir. Okay? All right, so like I showed you in the intro there, and I'll come back later and do that. I'll come back and we'll talk about that at the end. So let me go ahead and get into this here, man. Yeah, you can see I'm hot about it because, I told them this was going to come. And ain't no better time than this. And that's not me part of that. That's some people who I know, right? Right? I'm telling them, if you want the Trump card, I am the Trump card, right? I am the Trump card. I am the one that you cannot deny who you are. You sit there, and matter of fact, listen to what you heard. They're going to give $100 million, right? They're going to give $100 million in the case, and then listen how they say for hateful white supremacist and bullying content. What about the motherfuckers inside your goddamn institution of YouTube? What about the motherfucking CEO who might be one too? What about all that shit? It ain't just the obvious. See, that's the thing that they try to do with us. They try to make it seem like the shit that's just the damn obvious, right? That which is just the obvious is the only thing that you can say. It's kind of like how everybody, the country decides to say Donald Trump and those in the South. Like the ones that the straight up motherfucker that just wear it on their chest and their breast and everything else and their essence. As if these other motherfuckers that's out here ain't none of them doing that shit too. That's how y'all be trying to play the damn game. I'm the only one that's going to say what the TI is. See, I've been trying to do the way that, but now, no, ain't no more of that. Ain't no more of that. Ain't no more of that. Because, see, this is a spiritual thing now. Everything being revealed for what it is. Ain't nothing. It said no place, nowhere to hide. Nothing. Every stone unturned. Every crevice, every crack, where it can be found, it's going to be revealed. And so, y'all try to sit here and act as if like, without the black corner of the YouTube, where would YouTube even be? It is the black YouTube prior to that y'all had to make all the damn changes is because why? Black YouTube was getting black people to start looking at things the way they should be looking at things. And because of that, that was a no-no. We had to control it. But then they'll look you in your face, eye to eye, and try to look at you and tell you, we're not doing that. Where's the evidence to prove that? They're all in your damn hand. You don't think if something going long enough that something that's, when you're not a natural being, right? When you're not natural, you don't understand that there's a natural way that the progression of things naturally just happen. And then when there was a stoppage or there's a ceiling in it, you have to ask yourself, then what the hell is that that's keeping it from doing that? Oh, no, maybe it's see what they do is try to make it feel like it's the you. It's you. It's you. You. and you don't want to accept the fact it's you. Well, say you got $100 million put away for it. Well, shit, I'm gonna eat most of that up, right? I'm gonna eat most of that up. And so let me go ahead and get into the show. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna tell every show I'm touching on that. Every show. We're gonna talk about that every show. The beginning. Oh yeah, Mr. Mrblowsurmind is back. All that other stuff. Trying to do, no, man. Hell no. No more of that. So anyway, let's go ahead and get up into this, right? So let me go ahead and show you here. This here, like they say, that all this is a figment of our imagination. And that it's only the one who is outright that you see, who taught that certain thing, right? That these are the only ones that harbor that. Not the rest of us. It's this small little group. Well, let's see this story here. And we should be right back. I want y'all to check this out. So ready? Let's go hit this. Let's do this.
But many couples are beginning to plan their upcoming nuptials, and 5 very popular wedding websites have now announced that they will no longer push plantation weddings. This is in response to a campaign asking for the wedding industry to stop romanticizing plantations. Our Devin Bartolotta has been talking to local venues all day. So what does that mean for venues that are here in Louisiana, Devin?
Well, there's a long list of venues using the word plantation in their name, at least 24 by our count from the coast to Baton Rouge. About a third of them are not real plantations, but many of the others have grim and violent histories of slavery. But all of them could feel the very real effects of progressive change coming to the wedding industry.
Plantation weddings are getting pushback. And it comes from where most brides start the search for venues. After a national campaign by a civil rights nonprofit, 5 major wedding planning websites announced they will de-romanticize plantation weddings. Pinterest has chosen to limit autocomplete and search recommendations regarding plantations. The Knot and Wedding Wire are removing terms like elegant and romantic from descriptions. Brides tells WWL-TV it is removing content that glorifies plantations, and Zola announced Thursday it will remove plantation vendors altogether.
What can they do? Do they go down to every business in the South or in New Orleans and try to investigate whether there was slaves on the property or did slaves build the property?
Bobby Asaro owns Southern Oaks Plantation in New Orleans East. It has never been a real plantation, built only in the 60s to look like one.
The lighting, the pillows, the sofas, we did all of that to give it a more updated look.
But that puts Southern Oaks in a gray area. Asaro says he's even considering dropping the word plantation from the name.
I never have ever had anybody go, oh, are you going to treat us right because of the word plantation in your name? They know from our history of what we do. So it's a tricky situation.
Even trickier for real plantations. The Ormond plantation in Destrehan wrote to WWL-TV, quote, "We do regret the actions Wedding Wire and the Knot have taken and hope they realize the impact it will have on the lives of business owners and employees in the industry that have nothing to do with actual slavery. This action penalizes modern-day business owners," adding, quote, "One cannot erase history but should embrace the past, never repeat it, and move toward the future. We will never forget all who sacrificed before us, enslaved or free, to give us this historic estate."
Now, some plantations today told us they've not been contacted by the Knot or any other website to explain these changes. Meanwhile, all 5 of these wedding websites say they're working with the nonprofit Color of Change to set more solid.
All right, so plantation weddings face new scrutiny. We don't want the spaces where enslaved black people are buried to be sites of celebration. You know I'm going to say that again. Plantation wedding faces new scrutiny. We don't want the spaces where enslaved black people are to be buried are buried to be sites of celebration. So, right? So again, everybody keeps saying that it's a figure of our imagination. No, you guys always just saying these things. There is no racism. I mean, this is what they're doing, y'all. They're trying to undermine the youth and try to make them believe that the people who are older, who might be like a Mr. Blows Your Mind, right? All the stuff that we see that's going on. We see the atmosphere and all that. That all this here is not systemic to nothing. It's just the time we in. And then it's really not, I mean, you heard Don Jr. sat there the other day talking about something that racism is not real. This isn't even about racism anymore. What do you mean it's not about racism anymore? How do y'all just try to play something off that here it is? Look on your screen. Do you not see somebody sitting there going themselves to get married on a plantation to represent what is the feeling, and why would you even want something like that, right? Huh? Now they saying that protest is against racial injustice, right? Everything now is going systemic back to May 25th, 2020. And that prior to that even being happening, a lot of us didn't know. Remember when I said that which is outright, what you see here, right? But then what about this here? And if you could see who the people, they're not going to show who the face is. Not that we need that in particular, because we could just see on a daily basis who some of them probably is. And even the ones that you would not even suspect, right, might be that too, right? And so we see that they want to deny the horrors of slavery, right? That you even got people, have y'all been noticing lately, Asian people trying to come out, oh, we've been discriminated against, white people come out, oh, we were slaves too. What the fuck does that got to do with we as black people who, again, we are the number one seed and always will be in this land? Don't talk about no Holocaust, put that to the side. Like that one show that did with a woman sat there and talking about something, well, I'm Jewish and I'm the Holocaust. What does that got to do with here in the United States? Not a goddamn thing. Not a goddamn thing, right? So it stands to reason that the plantation weddings trends will continue to fall out of favor of the United States culture as the climate recalibrates and reexamines the problematic tradition. See? Remember the other day you was hearing when Donald Trump was talking about something, they hate our history, they hate our traditions. Wait a minute. If the shit that you do has a total impact on a whole ethnicity of people, what is it in you or in y'all that make it just like you can't understand that? What is in you and y'all that don't understand that you're talking about that because now the light is being shown on it and nobody is kind of like the lights with the roach come on, everybody want to run, right? Everybody want to run when you're talking about the fact that now it's obvious that we see that you're doing this, that now you ain't gonna do that because we make us. If it's not nothing wrong with it, you would just continue to keep doing it. But why do you stop? Obviously, in you, you know something ain't right. But that ain't what you kind of do. You just trying to do reverse psychology and make it see fall back on you and thinking that what you did to some of our ancestors going back and some of them before a certain period of time, you could put them back in that mindset. That mindset ain't working. You ain't gonna be able to slick talk yourself and make you gonna fall back to sleep again. That ain't happening no more. Now what you do from this day forth is on you. But the point is, that genie out the bottle. Matter of fact, in the Willie Lynch letter talked about that great phenomenon they would come, because if that thing could perpetuate itself for 1,000 years, it would, but then unless a phenomenon came, and guess what happened? A phenomenon has come. Huh? So here it is. People felt like this is part of their tradition to go on lands that it is nothing about suffering, the dehumanization, a time that's why the slogan can be saying, make it great again. And yet to ask yourself, if you didn't understand it, was what was great about it the first time. Oh, when we was in that condition and how you could go around and somebody could, oh, is that how you feel? Isn't that what Rudolph said? Rudolph said the same damn thing, right? But you're mad because Rudolph is breaking the code. Rudolph said, I'm tired and I want to make sure that I get this. This is my testimony. He's trying to get right. What he trying to get right for? Why you think a lot of them out there trying to get right for? Some of you want to be stone cold hearted and all the way to the end. That's your business if that's what you want to do. But the universe is changing whether you going to change with it or not. Got nothing to do with what y'all doing. You trying to hold on to the last vestiges. But there's going to be some light shining. Ain't going to be no dark little corner that you can hide in. So now, because of that, of your culture, this is the favor of your United States culture. How's that a culture? That you go to a place and historically and what that land is about and what it represents and symbolic to, that's someplace you want to have a memorable, supposed to be one of your most memorable moment in life. You want to have it on that. So that just go to tell us, y'all, BADOS, Black American Descendants of Slavery, that when they was probably making those slave movies, they weren't expecting us. It had a connotative way to be taken. We who were the ones that they were being subjugated, and them who was in the position where they had you couldn't say nothing, lap of luxury, big, all this fantasy, right? So that's what that is. That's like a Disney World, solely, only for this. But don't say nothing about the mind state though, right? Not at all, right? But anyway. So they say that this Pinterest and the not agreed to adopt new guidelines regarding wedding venues which operate as slave plantations. If the establishment is what the establishment is, in regards to what you trying to adopt, some guidelines, new guidelines, don't change the fact of what is the history of what it is. Right? I mean, hey man, you know a lot of things are being revealed now. There's a lot of things being revealed where certain people had held certain people in high esteem about something. But if you know and see as I do, it's showing there's a big flaw. There's a big character flaw. There's a big flaw, as what Rudolph said. There's a difference between we and them. See, there's certain things that they don't have the capacity to have that understanding, that it is etched out. It's kind of like something being lobotomized out of you so that your ass don't connect. And that maybe is because Rudolph said it came from somewhere else. Other people tell you, they'll tell you about scientists and somebody making the first one. And so if you try to make something that's from the original, it's kind of like when you see people who make these medicines. What they do is they go to the shamans in Africa and the medicine men, and they find out what they use, and then what they take, what you can't do is the natural, then try to make it in the synthetic form. And even when you make it and try to make it as close to it, it don't work the same way as the original, right? It don't work like the original. So what you do is you get a synthetic version, and then in that synthetic version, what you get is a lot of side effects, things that it couldn't cover because it didn't understand it through in and throughout. That's the difference between the creator and man. Man gonna always have flaws. Creator know exactly everything, every ingredient that's needed to do that without any side effects whatsoever. So let's just say when Rudolph say that one is human and the other one is something else, then now you understand what I'm talking about. There's something in the deep, like in the mind and the way that you looking at shit, there's something you just cannot understand, and yet it's right in your damn face. Right in your damn face, huh? So they said it was a campaign started by the civil rights advocacy group, Color of Change. The decision to glorify plantation is nostalgic. A sites of celebration is not an empowering one for black women and justice-minded people who use your site. Now, again, those who go to Prentice, and again, they advocate and do commercialism and advertising and stuff, like YouTube, who prevent a lot of us to say that stuff, the content that we're talking about is racist against whom, when it's all this stuff that we're talking about, this thing that's happened to us. So You don't want to hear the stuff that's been done to us, but it's okay when you're over here and you're advertising for, come on here and get married of this nice plantation here. We had this one here and had one of 2,500. It's okay for that. That ain't racist at all. And so now the black people, and I don't know why they just start singling to black women, right? Because I'm not sure what Prentice is about, but anyway, but that's what they're saying, right? And so the Knot, which is the one, I guess that's the company that does these plantations, is called the Knot. And said, well, we're going to stop using language that romanticizing plantations of weddings. Does it even matter the fact that you're romanticizing it? The fact that you even got plantations should be something in the mind of the individual who's going to sit there and plan to know. When they know it's plantations, they specifically know what a plantation is and they know what it represents and they cool with it. It don't matter about you romanticizing it, right? Right? And so they say that they want to now remove the plantation wedding content altogether, right? That they want to now that the light done shined on it, now everybody like, why don't we change it, huh? Right? So what they say is, now this again, they want to try to downplay a little bit. They say, well, the couples exchange vows against the scenic backdrop of a historical Southern mansion where enslaved black people once toiled, right? Now, is there in the package when you sit down, make the contract and set up the whole, don't they give you all that part of the package? That so you get an understanding so that when you go back and reflect about the day when you went in there and did your vows and got married and talk about the place. I wonder if you even stay there. I wonder if they even sleep a night there. You know what I'm saying? Do they get to sleep there too? That they get to sleep there, be there for a week or whatever it might be? Then I had, big old house. Do they got workers in there to come in there? You want some more tea, sir? More tea, sir? Is that they got in there too? Oh, no. This Mr. Blows Your Minds is back, y'all. I'm back. Want some more tea, sir? Right? Is that what that is? More tea, sir. Anyway, so give you the whole ambience, the whole package. That must be the supreme package. Have somebody coming in there looking like ain't your mama, making you pancakes, huh? Got some rheumatoid, got a little black boy lay on his, so you can put your feet on his belly. All that, right? All that. But that ain't considered nothing wrong. That's just a figure of out their imagination. But it's kind of like some utopia for yourself, right? So the economy between the two, right? So here it is that they know that plantations are spaces where torture and rape happen to we as BADOS. These places that they go to, that they celebrate a celebratory as part of their vow of their marriage. These are the lands where they tortured, sexually assault us, all kinds of things. The unfathomable stories that will ever be told, never be known, happen on these lands. So now they come to a moment of cultural reckoning. It took for black folks to say enough shit is enough shit. We're tired of the shit. We're looking at the shit that you're doing and we need change. Because you can't say, wait, it's been going on too damn long. So how can somebody who say, still wait, we got to wait 400 years, wait, we still, if it take, think about that. Think about it as a parent. Now, I don't know where you come from, where I come from, right? Let's say mama, daddy told your ass, go in that room, pick that shit up, all that mess you got up in there, right? Right? So when you go your ass up in there, or when they come back up in there, and it says it's been 20 minutes, and they came back, and they said, and look, and you ain't did nothing. They're going to come with another stern command. I told you, or you could have a parent that just, I understand one time, right? Yeah, because I said one time, now that parent and that child already, that's been already established. Aaron said that you already heard the word and it done came down. You know the move, because if it come back and you ain't moved, you know what's going to happen. Now you got those type of parents, then you got this other kind of parent. Got to come in there. I had to say a little bit more tough. Maybe you didn't hear me the first time. You deep boy or something? So they tell you, right? They tell you. Oh, okay, and then leave. Come back another 20 minutes. You ain't moved, like you ain't heard nothing? What gonna happen, y'all? They said some furniture gonna start moving, right? Furniture finna start moving up in this room, right? So here's the people, we talking about the parent 20 minute, would be like same thing talking about 400 years. And you think that what you see now is because you won't move? And then you blame that on, we're going to get into that anyway. So anyway, moving on, right? And so they say based on this move of this culture reckoning that black Americans will draw more scrutiny on the ways in which the legacy of slavery persists today. See? If we don't say anything, you don't move. You'll just keep things there, and then you're doing all these things in the confines and behind the curtains and behind closed doors, living these lives that when society, and then when you see black people talking about it, you try to say that is a figure of imagination, that racism isn't real. It's just you guys are stuck on something that it's not real. We're not like that. These are the vestiges and institutions that still resides to this day. It's kind of like how you see them protesters out there, and it ain't even black. We don't get to that. That ain't really black people out there. Some of them, they kind of follow because they try to be, they trying to kumbaya and try to be cool with everybody. But again, y'all better learn. You better pull your ass up out of there. My next show that I'm going to talk directly about that. But anyway. So the ones that are out there, they snatching down them statues and all that shit because they know the real significance to that and what those really represent. Now, it's not that black people don't sit there and see that and realize they know the history of that, but somebody who's infiltrated in you knows that these are the things. If these are one of the things that you want to really hurt, this is what you got to do. And then you have some of our, your little brothers and sisters out there who are following suit, right? And even them in the institutions are saying, hey, this ain't how black, wait a minute. We can't understand who black people are. There's certain shit they do and there's certain shit they don't do. I'm not sure if that's them. Okay, the looting we understand because we don't give them shit and they're hungry. I get that. Nobody, we get that part. But this rioting, burn up every damn thing, 10 down, I don't think that's black people. The more and more you keep seeing out there, who y'all seeing, yo? Sound like a coup to me. But anyway, don't pay no attention to me. And so, talking about the scrutiny, which the legacy of slavery still persists to this day. Yeah, because some people would think that slavery because you don't see a chain and you on a plantation picking cotton, that it ain't the same. You don't understand that games, metaphor, it's like they say evolution. Shit change. Shit evolve from one thing and turn into something else. By those who controlling it has said we have to figure a way to hide it a little bit better the way, because if they start knowing these are going to be the things that's going to happen, right? They say, right? And so they say that, the coronavirus pandemic has wreaked havoc. They try to say, well, prior before all this was happening, the coronavirus. But again, like I just said to you, now, one to say China did it. Some people say that it was the United States did it, right? And so forth and so on. And whatever that might be, whether it be spiritual, whatever it might be, that they said that this has put a wreck and havoc on business prior to. And what it did is it put a ban on giving on larger gatherings, restricting of various venues. So wait a minute. So you saying that there's a lot of people who would attend on these plantation weddings? So this ain't something like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so just a small little gathering of people that got together and we're going to do this. They be having, So that's what I'm saying. Do they get the whole plantation too? They get to sit and live out there? And do they have people who will, okay, what was that? You good? Okay, we good? Okay. You would have a whole gathering of people out there, and again, like I said, the employees, again, trying to make everything fit. It's kind of like when those people going to, they say they from, let's say, Jamaica, right? But you live on the Kingston, on the other side of the damn fence. But everything on the other side, the blue water, white sands, and the structure there, that all the white people out there, who be out there working, serving them, sending them drinks and all that shit. be black people out there. So it kind of has that kind of ambiance as to the same thing that they say, well, we don't support none of that. We're not really like that. But the way everything operates, it always kind of seems to be in the same spirit of that, right? Ain't that something? So, including former plantation. Now, they say that some of these structures are not all plantation that were our ancestors were on. I don't give a damn if they are supposed to be a replica. It replicates the same damn thing, whether somebody specifically was on there or not and going through the things that I talked about as the torture and everything else that go along with that. You replicating that is just a duplicate of it's a copy of the original. What's the difference? Oh, because there really wasn't nobody on there? Huh? Like I said, man, huh? So they want to now come to a Jesus moment. They want to put their moral compass before the monetary gain. See, after they done got caught in the shit that you do, now all of a sudden now we want to be morally right. If you're talking about your moral compass, that shouldn't even been part of your business plan in the first damn place. But there was a market for it. And you felt that was good. And business was great and good. And it was not on the radar. It was not something that we was even thinking about or nor seeing. But the time came and now look at this on Black Minds News and he talking about it. Huh? Now we're going to say as a PR movie, well, putting our moral compass together. So we're going to put our moral before we put our monetary gain. And we're going to refusing the work to the venues that once operated as plantation. We're going to stop doing all this, okay? We're gonna go ahead and close up shop till it cools down. Kind of like what Laura Ingraham said that day. She said, one day we're gonna put them statues back. One day we're gonna get y'all back in order. What? Right? So they're just waiting for everything to cool down, right? Go right back to business as usual, right? Right? And we go right back to business as usual. That's how they get down, right? But when we talk about it, we say no. See what we do, like in the beginning of the show, the evidence, the preponderance of the evidence is always there. The problem is y'all don't want to admit it. So you want to try to make it, you trying to reverse psychology, make it seem like something wrong with us by saying it. It's you doing it, right? I've got another one for you. Since again, everybody saying it's just a fate of our imagination. What about this one here? Y'all ready to see this? Be right back. Check this out.
Tense conference in Costa County. KPIX5's Kenny Choi's and Martinez, where a brand new Black Lives Matter mural became a battleground.
No one wants Black Lives Matter here.
Soon after community members with permits painted Black Lives Matter on the 4th of July, this unidentified couple covered it in black paint, making their own statement.
Keep America great again, that's right.
So when I saw that on the internet, I figured, let me stand out here. Not for violence, but for peace, and just to let our people know that, hey, there's some great people out here.
Like Nina Regan, she and her dad spent the morning chalking love is the answer.
A lot of people do say bad things, but if we have less of that, then it will be better.
The mural is in front of the courthouse, igniting a back and forth dialogue and a territorial battle, going from yellow to black yesterday, and now, as you can see, repainted to yellow just hours ago.
And we have even more paint at home. We washed all of our rollers off last night and we're ready to go if someone messes with it again.
Brainwashed.
Hey, I love you, brother. I love you. We all love you. We're trying to teach you how to love yourself so you won't be so angry. I love my babies the same way you love your babies. I love my children the same way. I run, I jog, I exercise, I eat healthy, I'm vegan sometimes.
A witness took this photo of the couple driving away in a white Nissan truck and notified police.
We know that there's a diverse amount of opinion in Martinez, but we just didn't think it would come out so overtly and so viciously.
By the time police arrived, they say that the suspects were gone, but they are investigating this now as an act of vandalism. In Martinez.
All right, so say a white man and woman vandalized a Black Lives Matter mural on 4th of July called racism, a leftist lie. California police say, you know I'm going to say that again. A white man and woman vandalized a Black Lives Matter mural on 4th of July called racism, a leftist lie. California police say. Now, as you've seen in the video there, you got to see the physical proof of the two individuals that somebody caught. Now, again, you done heard me here on Black Minds News that we as BADOS, Black American descendants of slaves, when you talk about black lives, that's what we mean here in the United States when we talk about that. Now, the group, the organization that is funded, created by, that's something entirely different. We seeing the outcomes, and hopefully that they're starting to see that, because the things are falling out. But it's those of us in the black corner, we're going to have to keep informing them what that is, right? And how the coup is happening. The next show going to be about the coup, right? So, as I said on this show on Black Lives Matter, and what that is become the equivalent of the nigger word to white folks. You know, you get with white folks and it says, just say, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. And you just start metamorphing into this monster and shit start coming out of their ass. And you get what I'm saying? That's what started happening. Could you imagine it was just a day that the whole country just say, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter, Black Lives Matter. You know what happened? You'll read the next day, there might be some people who actually might die because that shit just tearing them up internally. Right? Why does that irks so many people? Because you say Black Lives Matter. Why does that? And then they say that as this person, and they're talking about a leftist lie, that racism is a leftist lie. It's a lie. Huh? Ain't that something? Anything to take that damn thing off of your ass. You'll say and do anything, right? So again, they say a man and a woman who vandalized the Black Lives Matter mural on the 4th of July, right? Probably a day of independence. Now again, how is it hard for certain people to understand that, and they know this? This is not even like this is something that you don't even really understand. You just deny it, or you just a stone, starch, cold, whatever you want to call that, right? That you know that there's two Americas here. Actually, there's three Americas, because the immigrants got shit. There's more than that. You got feminists is America, LGBT is America, right? Immigrants is America, black people are America, white people are America. I mean, you get what I'm saying? There's about 5 different Americas going on in this place, or United States going on in this place. And out of the 5 people, the 5 groups there, shit, the people who built, toiled, blood, sweat, and tears, don't get none of the crumbs. None of the damn crumbs. And everybody eating it, everybody trying to, again, you're trying to coop our shit. Y'all think we don't see that shit? I don't miss nothing, no, but you know damn well coming over here. That's why y'all be keeping me suppressed, because you know I'm going to tell like a T.I. is. Going back to rare form now, and like I was changing. I was just trying to do a different way about it. But you know, that shit don't work. That shit don't work. You got to come and give it to them, right? So anyway. So, they said the Martinez Police Department, right, is where this area, I guess this is where this is going to be at, right? Now, in order for that to be visualed and stay there, did it not dawn on the people that somehow there must be some kind of agreement with somebody as officials to allow that, what they call a mural, to be there without the city or the, you know what I'm saying, the city didn't come in and remove it? Did that not dawn on anybody? Like, why is that able to be there like that? You know why that was? Because they obtained a city permit to paint that mural in the downtown Martinez in East Bay in San Francisco. But you know what the funny part about that is? They talking about over there too, ain't they talking about what the Asians is over there talking about they being discriminated because they were talking about the Chinese virus, right? So So Chinese virus based on black American history and experience in this land, that trumps it. Everything trumps that. Nobody wants to deal with that. And then y'all look at yourself when you brushing your teeth and look at yourself and think that you are a standing upright person. Right? So what you seen in the video, seen a woman, she beginning to paint over the mural in black paint, right? Now that she gonna put black paint over it, right? Put the black over that, right? You're like, no, she again, Black Lives Matter is the equivalent of saying nigga to them. That's how I looked at it. Look at how it affects it. Because prior to that, there is no word that you could say that make white people okay. Like what was his name? That comedian. I forgot his name, but he got caught doing some other fuck shit. But anyway. He was saying the same thing too. He said, what are you going to do? Call me a cracker? Oh, that ruined my day. He said, what does cracker mean? Cracker means that your ass was out there cracking the damn whip on who? My people, right? A hunky? Well, hunky, you may try to say, well, that's the family. Call me a hunky. Well, you know what a hunky is? A hunky is a motherfucker who came in a black neighborhood, white dude, who wanted to buy some, right? Hunked the horn so that she could come down, get in the car, he could drive off so he can go get himself. That's what hunky is. So what part has been, right? Redneck is the one out there when he was out there hot in the damn sun, so he put the red bandana around his neck to keep his ass from getting hit. What part in that compared to the nigger word? But see, the creator good. The creator real good. He knew there's something in you that could get in your ass. Why don't you say Black Lives Matter? Let me say that again. Maybe he said, why don't you say Black Lives Matter? Something as simple as that. And look how that word, that verb, the vibration goes into those ears, resonate in their side that they all go, all lives matter. All lives matter. All lives matter. But the black lives, again, it's like the crayon. The 16, the 32, the 64 box of crayons. All the colors in the box. Right? You got every color in the box. There's a white crayon, and there's a black crayon, and there's all the other crayons, right? All the lives matter except for that goddamn black crayon. Really don't have no use for that white crayon. Really think about what do you really use that white crayon for? Always, all the crayons you see the kids, the white crayon don't be used. It just be in there. End up some kid thinking start chewing on it or some shit. But right? But anyway. So Black Lives Matter, right? Black Lives Matter, right? Black Lives Matter. That's all you gotta say. You make a mother clutch his heart. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. Huh? You start him up for clutching his heart and getting, huh? You go to jail saying Black Lives Matter pretty soon, right? So again, the woman began painting over the mural. You seen the black paint. The woman spoke with the crowd of onlookers. And this is what she said, right? Now, you might not have heard, right? Now, she was using a roller to paint over it, right? And she said, we're sick of the narrative. We're sick of that narrative. Black Lives Matter. We're tired of that. What? You're tired of the narrative. We're tired of the life and the experience. What would you prefer? The narrative that you say is alive versus the people who are the existential aspect of the history of that and telling you full of shit. Oh, okay. And so by the time the police got there, they was gone, huh? Nobody's calling the cops. No, that's what they do on us back in the day. Remember, I'm calling the cops. You start running, right? I ain't running no more, right? Got to the point, fuck that, man. I ran enough. What matter of fact, let me show you something, man. Let me show you the mindset. Let me show you the mindset, right? Let me show you the mindset of white folks, right? You know, there used to be a term called Drapetomania, right? Drapetomania. Drapetomania was a conjecture of mental illness that in 1851, an American physician named Samuel A. Cartwright, he hypothesized. Now, hypothesized. He was making shit up. But they're going to make this be what it is because, again, our ancestors had to take this, right? But he hypothesized as the cause of enslaved Africans fleeing captivity, right? Fleeing captivity, right? That fleeing captivity, right, is what drapetomania was. That you didn't want to be a slave anymore. You didn't want to be getting beat, raped, tortured, sun up, sun. You didn't want that anymore. And they classify that, trying to get away, drapetomania. Huh? What? They classify that as drapetomania. Right? So you can make anything. So basically, what was that when they started to run when the police was coming? They were running from the police too, right? So when they ran from the cops, was that drapetomania? How did they call that one? Is that drapetomania? So again, they said while the white woman was painting, the white man, he said racism is a leftist lie. Substantiate that. Prove that it's a lie. How can you say that? And what would make a person say that racism is a lie? What part of racism is a lie? Your understanding of the word racism, is that what you think that it's your understanding of it? Right? Then what to do? The woman is out there swearing at onlookers. She said, this is not happening in my town. You don't own shit. You just live there, pay rent or taxes like anybody else. But this thing about privilege and being white, I have the right to be able to say this doesn't matter to me. Ain't that something? And they don't think that each and every one of them, and a lot of them is pot liquor. A lot of them that came here were not part of the echelons of the white people or the blue bloods. But somehow they took on the spirit of believing, again, as Paul Mooney has always said, they got the protection for the complexion, or complexion for the protection, that they've taken on the persona of that. And they take on it, it becomes real to them. And the things that you say that is not existent, you're acting just like the stuff that we're talking about. But somehow it don't fit. It don't mesh in one mind. It don't fit, right? And guess what? The man was out there wearing a Trump 4 more years hat. Now again, you have the right to politicize and all that. That's fine. You know that when they're gonna write an article, they're gonna use that because Trump's racist, he's racist. But again, he and then they said he was also saying keep America great again. What does that even mean? Can any of y'all really explain that? What does making a great America great again? What does that really mean? Tell me, when did that start? When the beginning of America great again began? And when did it fall? And why do you have to rebuild it? When did Humpty Dumpty fall off the mountain or off the bridge? And now you got to build them back in. When did that happen? And when was it great being the beginning? Give us a time frame. I'd like to know that. And he told people he told the people who was out there watching them doing the shit that they was doing, they need to learn about history. Well, as they keep trying to tell us, y'all, that they're revising the history. Right? They slowly, methodically, just like they doing in Egypt, they're going to have Egypt all white looking. Yeah, see how they came out that time on, what was it, Good Morning America? What they trying to come out there talking about the real Nefertiti? Just sick with it. Like you don't exist nowhere. You here before them, and they say the world was not what it was until we got here. And look at the place. Look at it all around the globe. People are showing their distaste for the oppression. And then you even have people who are protesting, and they can't really say racism because they use their own people to suppress them because it looked like it's black people, but they might be getting their orders from somebody else. Right? So he told them they need to go read a damn history book. Tell me what books your ass read, right? So they end up going to civil rights attorney Ben Crump, right? Now, my thing with Ben Crump is, y'all went to the UN. That situation got so damn hot, the UN done shut the fuck down. Yeah, remember when those who've been watching the show, remember when I was leading up to that, long before that was even talked about, I was leading up to that, right? And guess what? The minute that they said they was going to vote to go ahead to say the United States against the black people, and shut down. So when we closed down for Corona now, all that grandstanding that 54 countries in Africa are standing up, what happened to y'all going to convene on this voting? What happened to that? Oh, it went away. Magically delicious. Huh? Frosty Lucky Charms, right? Okay. So Ben Crump goes on and said, we will repaint the mural. You will not silence our collective voice for justice. And that's what he had tweeted. And even the police department called the damage in the mural divisive and hurtful, right? Because your interpretation of what you believe doesn't mean that it is substantiated by everybody. But you said it's a leftist lie. You need to read history books, right? Leftists, that ain't really got nothing to do with black people. That's the two games of the bird that they're trying to make it seem like there's a difference between the two, and they both got the same damn agenda. Let's stop the bullshit on that. Now, black people who all get into, I'm conservative. What you conserving? What you conserving? When they talk about make America great, what you conserving? That? Anyway. The community spent a considerable amount of time putting the mural together, only to have it painted over as a hateful, senseless manner. So they want the people to help them to identify so they can be accountable for their actions. So this story is going to continue, right? They're going to continue it, right? They're going to find out who they are. But then they said that the Black Lives Matter mural have been painted nationwide during a week of protests, right? And it said that President Donald Trump called the mural proposed by the New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio to be painted on front of the Trump Tower. He considered that a symbol of hate. Right? You gotta put some fucking Black Lives Matter in front of my product. Right? See? Nothing could be too damn white, but boy, sure something can be too damn black. Ain't that something? Right? It sure could be too damn black. That good shit crazy, man. But that's just how it is, man. We gotta take it for what it is, right? Take it for what it is, right? So, what else I got up in here, right? So I just sit there and talked about what Donald Trump had said about with de Blasio proposing that they should put that Black Lives Matter in front of his. I guess hate would be, a symbol of hate would be de Blasio having them doing that to get back at him for some of the stuff he's saying, because de Blasio got a black wife, so and mixed children, so it's like, well, he's advocating for that, right? You remember the police turned their back on him and all that other stuff. So again, it was just more rhetoric to go with it, right? So let's go on the same thing with that, right? So let's look at this situation, right? Because they say that everything's a lie, saying this is stuff is made up. Did y'all see this story here? Be this and be right back. Check this out.
Yes. Haley, why is it Bubba Wallace's responsibility to apologize for an investigation into a noose that he didn't report and he never even saw? It was NASCAR that found this, that reported this, and even the FBI referred to it as a noose, even if they said it wasn't a specific crime against Mr. Wallace. Why is the president even suggesting that Mr. Wallace should apologize?
Well, look, the FBI, as I noted, concluded that this was not a hate crime, and he believes it'd go a long way if Bubba came out and acknowledged that as well. This was not a hate crime as noted by the FBI.
Been very clear that the FBI found this was not intentional. Why is he directing this at Mr. Wallace?
So one of the things that's This is where the president comes from, and this is where the president stands. And he actually hinted at this in his July 4th speech. To those in the media who falsely and consistently label their opponents as racist, who condemn patriotic citizens, who offer a clear and truthful defense of American unity, we want a clear and faithful defense of American history and unity. And when you level false charges, you not only slander me, you slander the American people. He believes the American people are good. And the allegations and the rush to judgment with Jesse Smollett in the Bubba Wallace case and with the Covington Catholic boys, we shouldn't be so quick to jump onto those narratives. Those are just three examples of those that have been proven false.
For an investigation that someone else initiated, suggesting he was possibly the victim of a hate crime?
Yes.
For clarity, I'm asking you about the Confederate flags. My question is, why is the president so supportive of flying the Confederate flag?
The president never said that. Again, you're taking his tweet completely out of context.
The president said that NASCAR saw bad ratings because they took down the Confederate flag, banned the Confederate flag. Does he believe NASCAR should fly the Confederate flag, and why don't they fly it here?
The whole point of the tweet was to note the incident, the alleged hate crime, that it in fact was not a hate crime. At the very end, the ban on the flag was mentioned in the broader context of the fact that he rejects this notion that somehow NASCAR men and women who go to these sporting events are racist, when in fact, as it turns out, what we saw with the FBI report and the alleged incident of a hate crime, it was a complete indictment of the media's rush to judgment, once again calling this a hate crime when the FBI completely
All right, so Trump attacks NASCAR and Bubba Wallace over Confederate flag banning news incident. You know I'm going to say that again. Trump attacks NASCAR and Bubba Wallace over Confederate flag banning news incident, right? Everybody kind of heard this story already, kind of, right? Yeah, everybody heard a little bit about it, right? But you know, think about what just happened again. So what you had is the president of the United States came out and asked an individual who was told about something that took place, that they took the necessary steps, that he need to apologize for what had been done. Now, I hear a lot of people who say that somebody is not what they is. They just say, well, you guys are stuck on that color stuff. He's not that. He's the. Hey, wait a minute. Just because you might be doing something right in the eyes of some people that might, and I'm not going to say I'm against it, and I'm not going to really get into that, but there's some things that happen for those who are on the back end knowing about a lot of stuff that's happening, supposed to be, you know, dealing with, let's say, pedophilia and pedophile and all that stuff. Even if somebody's cleaning and doing some stuff when it comes to that, right? If that be the case, but that still don't mean that it's kind of like saying when we look at history and look at some of the people of the statues and talk about how Jefferson and Washington and all these people, it's kind of like King David in the Bible. He can't build the damn temple because he had too much blood on his damn hand. He did the job that he needed to do, but then because his hands too dirty, can't build the damn temple. So the same thing here. You might be doing some good work here, but there's some character flaws about you that just is what they is, right? And so to ask Bubba Wallace to apologize, right, about something we all seen out in the interviews. Abbott watches over here on the show. We show you what that door, that so-called pull down for that door on that noose looked like, right? And so, you know, just what it is, right? It's funny how, like I said, they say it's imaginative, it's a lie, it don't really exist, and so it's like, you know, you guys need to snap up out of it, right? So what we see is that President Donald Trump, that was on Monday, what he did is he took an aim at NASCAR Darrell Bubba Wallace, right? Now, he's considered a prominent black driver, but you know that I did the show and I told you the difference that he got a white daddy and a white mama. You know how the game that they created as into the mix is you are your father's seed. So it technically, I'm thinking this is where this is coming down, why he had him to do that. So it was supposed to be taking one for the team, but he didn't. So anyway, I go on. I'll talk about it as I get more into this. But he's considered to be a prominent black driver in NASCAR, right? And it looked like that, again, we all know that NASCAR anti-racist stance had lowered its television rating. Now, to say based on the reporting about that news and saying that somebody had attempted to use the image as a scare tactic, a fear-mongering tactic on Bubba Wallace, that in itself killed the television rating, right? That's what had been said by President Trump. And so he ended up tweeting, right? He says, hashtag Bubba Wallace apologized to all of those great NASCAR drivers and officials who came to his aid, right? Now, wait a minute. See how he's wording that? He's wording that in a way so it's like, the symbolic gesture, they can take the slide of this little right here to cover everything else that's bad. That's how they work, man. That's how they is. All this shit over here that that this shit all fucked up, we're going to find a little inkling of right and we're going to use this to cover all that shit up. See, it's like, man, it is what it is, man. For those people who just can't discern and can't understand it and keep on saying, oh, you guys are stuck on it. It is what it is. Quit trying to tell yourself something else, right? So he says that they stood by his side. They were willing to sacrifice everything for him, only to find out that the whole thing was just another hoax. Another hoax. See, think about what they saying hoax. You heard in that press conference where you heard her say that the Covington Heights, the high schoolers, and what the native, the Indian cat that came in with the drums. Remember, they only depicted that part of it, right? Remember, the whole incident, they tried to make it was solely about what took place with the Indian in the stare down. What was it that the Indian that came in between them drumming, did he stop prior before that? It was with the Hebrew Israelites, right? Remember, I played the whole thing. Remember? Those who haven't watched the show, remember, I showed you the entirety of it. Right? They never touched that part. That's what I'm trying to tell you. They will take the inkling part that they can use to try to cover over all the shit that's over here and run with that. And be like, that's enough. We said this is what it is. That's what it is. We're not going to give no accreditation or no honor to none of that. Right? So they use the Covington Heights boys. Right? They use the Jussie Smollett. Ask yourself, if that situation is what it is, how come y'all can't get his ass back in there to get him to do what y'all need to do? How come y'all can't get him back in there? And again, he said some things and they showed some things, but do we all really know what really took down there? But the point is, what happens is with these situations is they try to give them some validity to try to make everything. They take these three incidents and try to make everything a damn hoax. How can everything be a damn hoax? Huh? Everything is a damn hoax. That flag decision has caused lowest ratings ever. So, look at the in-between message that he's saying. Because you stood on the fact that they should take the Confederate flag down and take it off the NASCAR. You said it made the lowest. So basically, the people that you say it offended. So they're offended by taking it down, but you can't be offended that it's up. See? So that means something take precedence over you and the rest with how you feel. It don't matter. We don't give a fuck about how you feeling. Hey, give a fuck about how you feeling. Who give a fuck about what you're talking about? This is our thing. See? It's openly right in the face. And yet you can't see who you are. It's right there. It's right fucking there. All right? So we see criticized NASCAR for banning the Confederate flag. Separately, 2 sport teams considering changing their name. And they decided they were going to change their name, right? They like, wait a minute. Y'all it's too much. You're taking over too much. It's not our country anymore. I ain't feeling. Not the fact that let's try to make amends. Go back to the beginning of the show where the white man told you about it in the Bible and said, bring it before your altar, making amends, reparating, taking care. You have a people who have an issue with you. But that ain't what we trying to do here. We're going to go on and fuck what they got to feel and fuck what they got to say. All right then. All right. Humpty Dumpty fell off the wall. Like they say, all the king's men and all can't put Humpty but anyway, right? So what we see is that Bubba Wallace ended up taking his response as an advice to young people, right? He said, all the haters are doing is elevating your voice and platform to much a greater height. He said, last thing, always deal with hate being thrown at you with love. Love over hate every day. Love should come naturally as people are taught to hate, even when it hates from the President of the United States. Love wins, right? Then he had posted out, say, your words and action will always be held to a higher standard than others. You have to be prepared for that. You don't learn these things in school. You learn them from trials and tribulations, the ups and downs this crazy world provides. You will always have people testing you, seeing if they can knock you off your pedestal. I encourage you to keep your head held high and walk proudly on the path of your chosen path. Never let anybody tell you you can't do something. God put us all here for a reason. Find that reason and be proud of it and work your tail off every day towards it. All the haters are doing is elevating your voice and platform to much greater heights. Black Minds News is the most hated show in the black corner of the internet. Many people come out, you ain't saying nothing, you ain't talking about nothing. I don't see nothing about it. Yeah. Ask yourself, who could be in the business for 8 years? Can't get 100 views. 2,900 subscribers. Been that way for the last three years. 4 years. Might have been longer than that. Might have been the last 6 years. Huh? But it's a figure of our imagination. So we see that one of the NASCAR drivers, Tyler Reddick, he had tweeted in response to Trump, right? He said, we don't need no apology. We don't need no apology, right? He said, what we did was right. What we would do just fine without your support. Huh? But guess what he did? He didn't stand on it. He deleted the tweet. He put it out there, but he took it away, right? He didn't do the right thing. We did the right thing, but we took it down. Somebody said, hey, don't say that to the president. He's white. See? There's a little, difference between the young whites and those who still holding on to the last vestiges. Right? So don't take that down. Anyway. So NASCAR even came out with its own, they released a statement too, right? And they said they continue to stand tall with Bubba, right? We are proud to have Bubba Wallace in the NASCAR family, and we commend his courage and leadership, right? Right? They came out, did the PR work in support of, right? They got him in there, right? He's supposed to be representing the black folks in there, right? I mean, he's half and half. Again, like I say, everybody get on our damn team because you have, okay. But can't be half white and still be white. But you can be half black and be all black. Again, like I said, what we seeing is the inside mindset of how people really operate. But anyway, moving on. So as we've seen in the White House press secretary, that was saying that was that Kayleigh, what her name, McEnany? I think her name McEnany, right? And that, again, as you heard in that video there, she was talking about the broader points about, what Trump had tweeted is that there was a rush to judgment. Like what we seen as the news that somebody put there, whether it was put there prior to him being there or did it himself, they put that noose there as, okay, they were using it for a handrail to be able to pull down, but you took time to make that. That wasn't just something that you just threw up there and they just fell that way. Somebody took their time to make that or bought it, whatever it was. But it still has a, significance to something when you see that, right? Yeah, it could be cowboys, right? Cowboys, right? Okay, right? You roping the deer and doe and all that. Okay, I get that. But, remember, Bubba Wallace isn't the one that actually brought that to light. It was the president. So why would the NASCAR president come to Bubba Wallace and tell him what he saw, right? What he saw, right? And so she goes on, and again, that's what her job is. The White House press secretary is to, when the person who she's up there for, she got to spin when it's on boo-boo, right? So she said that the president is merely pointing out that we have let the facts come out before we rush to the judgment. Everybody's seen what they've seen. See, again, the whole thing is about manipulating your mind, not seeing what you've seen and only believing what we tell you, right? And then the fact that you heard in the video here, right? You heard that one of the reporters who was questioning her about Trump's claim that banning the Confederate flag was bad for ratings, right? Right? And then you heard her say, well, Trump was not taking a stance on the Confederate flag, nor was it a good or bad decision for NASCAR to ban it. So wait a minute. See how that she double talking? Think about that. Look what kind of people you got to be to have that job. Listen to that. Okay? Now, you heard what Trump had said in the video, right? Or maybe he didn't. But accordingly, he had took a stance against, like he said, about the ratings being down and that it was a bad idea for them to take the Confederate flag down. She said that he wasn't taking a stance on the Confederate flag. And he wasn't saying whether it was bad or good or bad decision for NASCAR. Well, what are you saying then? You know what I'm saying? Huh? Master slick talker. That's a master slick talk. Huh? He didn't say that, and they didn't say that. So the reporter, you just making that up. You just came with that out of clear blue sky. So basically calling those who are participants that come out there and patronize NASCAR as being racist. And she's saying, well, Trump was defending them. How? The flag in itself. Oh, so if the flag is the thing that made them come out there and taking the flag away has made them not come, what would you end up thinking that is? Why would you think that? That you said that ain't got nothing tied to them, and then the flag in itself and then the history here, and then we as BADOS in this land, then what you think that is, right? But he defending them. But I remember when somebody was the president that was probably the black president, and we just say, gentlemen, you be a black president. I'm not a black president. I'm the president for all peoples. But see, when they in there, he defending them. That's how you know, y'all we say, first black president, he's everybody but you. Right? He stands against the demonetization, or I'm tongue-tied right now. Hold on a second. He stands against the demonization of Americans. Now, again, you see how that make that seem like everybody? But if you've been watching this show, you know you got a hyphenation on your American, right? So that's code world. He stands against the demonization of whites. And he stands firmly on the side of preserving our history. See? Right in your face. But act as if like that's not what they doing. But the wording is right there. Right? Our history. What do you mean our history? Her included. Not his history. Our history. What is Americans? Okay, preserving our histories. Okay. Am I saying that take all the stuff out the history book? No. Everybody got their reason, their purpose for why they believe the statues and stuff. That's okay. You debate with them about all that shit, right? No, it's not. It's not to take away. It's preserving the history, but at what expense? One to another, especially when you have not redeemed, as you go again in the beginning of the show. As a redeem, you got to go before you go to the altar, but you don't want to redeem that, right? So somebody had asked her, well, would a Confederate flag be permitted at a Trump rally? She went in and she said, well, campaigns does not allow flags of other official Trump campaign gears into rally. Campaign National Deputy Press Secretary Courtney Perella, she confirmed that the policy of the NBC News saying that we do not permit rally attendees to bring their own signage or displays of any kind, and only allow approved rally signs inside. Okay, so if you do see one in there, it was approved. If you do ever see one of them flags, anything that you think that, remember which that the secretary, right, the National Press Secretary, Trump's campaign, Courtney Perella, said, if you should happen to see one, remember that it was approved by them, right? Okay. And then we had that it was on Fox News Radio. We had the Senator Lindsey Graham, Republican from South Carolina. Actually, is an ally with Trump, and he believed that he didn't think that Wallace had anything to apologize for. Right? Hey, think about it. Why did he have to apologize? What did he do? He was told something, and they acted upon it, and that's what they did as a company. They act upon it. But the thing is, they want to say that because the FBI went in there and to do an investigation, and the determination was what it is. Have you ever seen a court case where a court has rendered a decision and come to find out it get appealed later and overruled? They were wrong, but nobody who goes back and do an appeal on that. Nobody. We all seen what we seen. Why did the NASCAR president decide that he thought what it was too? The only thing is, what they said is they couldn't put their finger on who actually put it there. How far back did you go? As long as it wasn't there before he got there, it was good enough, right? They didn't really want to get down and figure out who it really was, because then that was going to open up some other shit. So again, remember, as I said, banks too big to fail. Well, this was another institution, American institution, as you heard that press secretary say, our history. So they was not going to put them under the scrutiny to bust there, right? To bust it. They was not going to do that. So anyway. And he said, what you saw, again, like I said, that NASCAR did what they thought was right. Right? They thought it was a threat against Bubba Wallace. And they rallied to his side. And they were looking to celebrate that kind of attitude more than being worried about being a hoax. Right? They did what teammates do. They rallied around each other. They support their teammates. And you took it as an opportunity to try to slant. But actually what he was trying to do, as I was saying, is the fact that him being half, daddy being white. So in a sense, they say you should be loyal to your father. And what they is and who they cause is. Take one for the team. Don't worry about them. You're still going to be representing them. Just apologize, right? That's what that was about, man. And then it's just funny that when you think about that, how that it was NASCAR who had announced that a ban on the Confederate flag last month. And according to them, the sport has seen a boost in television ratings. Now, I wonder where that was. Was that because of you denouncing that flag or banning that flag? According to, they said that there was a boost in television ratings. The month of June, at the race that they said to Martinsville in Virginia, following the banning announcement, they said there was 104% up from the compared to the race in 2019. So how could he say that there was low ratings based on what that took place? See, so again, just taking shit, throwing it to the wind, hoping that it stick. See, you got people out here who are looking and watching, right? So it's like you can't just say any damn thing. Right? And then they talk about the Talladega race in Alabama later in June, where they said the noose incident took place, right? And they said that rated as the most watched Monday contest in years. After the noose incident, once it came with the noose, so wait a minute. When when they talked about banning the flag, right? The ratings went up 104. When they put the noose up there, it was the most watched ever on a Monday. So you get what I'm saying? Right? Crazy, right? Right? And basically, when you think about NASCAR, it's the only thing that is benefited from all this is because it's the only thing they don't have to have no audience to do what they do. They just out there racing. But guess what? People still be out there, right? And again, having a live event on TV. While other sports are right now idling, trying to figure it in basketball and all that, you know what I'm saying? But again, all this is due to what? The coronavirus, right? Okay. And so what you got is they also talked about that in Tallahassee, the door pull rope shape, what they call like a noose. It was a noose, right? That it was raising questions about whether it had been placed there intentionally in response to his outspokenness in support of banning the Confederate flag at the NASCAR event. But again, once again, it was the FBI investigated the incident and ruled out a hate crime. They ruled out a hate crime, right? They just ruled out a hate crime. They didn't rule out that there wasn't noose didn't exist. They just said it wasn't a hate crime, right? Right? Well, they were citing the video evidence showing the rope was in the stall months before it was assigned to Wallace. So they seen it was when it got, so they mean they also must have seen who put it up there or when it got, you know what I'm saying? And they just showed the rope, but they didn't show you the footage to go back to when it was first installed, because then you're going to reveal somebody in that one what they were trying to do, right? So when you look at some of the history of NASCAR, which means that when you look at this one, when you look at the history of NASCAR and understand that Donald Trump had some ties in there, right, where NASCAR has even gave him some kind of accolades, right? There's the presidential campaign when he was back, when he won his endorsement, sports top leadership. And at the Daytona 500, Trump took the presidential limo on the track, right? As the pace car before the race began, right? And the Brickyard 400 in Indianapolis, one of the drivers began racing in a fully decked out pro-Trump branded car. And guess what happened? At a few laps, that motherfucker crashed, right? So, you know what I'm saying? So, was that conspiracy or was that just, something above doing what it had to do, right? So, that's just what that is, right? That's it. It'd be right there. And again, you want to alter, you want to change. You want to change what is right in your face. But you want to say it's a lie, it's a figure of imagination, it's not a true narrative. All these things, other than the fact they're not dealing with, and then one had the nerve say, well, read a history book, right? Other one say, well, what it is, and then they spinning what they saying. The truth is straight. It is what it is. It's the lie that has to move left, right, and not stay straight, right? Some people they just don't really understand that. So it is what it is, right? All right, so let me go on. What else I got in here for you, right? So since we're talking about that, right? Since we're talking about that in this election time, right? I want you to see that, look how this took place in something that the Supreme Court just did. Just for those, again, you avid watchers over here, we done talked about this before, so check this out, and I'll be right back. Check this out. Ready to do this? Go and do it.
On Monday, the Supreme Court said states can require presidential electors to vote for the candidate who won the state's popular vote. It's upholding state laws that punish so-called faithless electors. The court examined the votes of electors in the 2016 election from Colorado and Washington state. The ruling comes just months ahead of this year's general election. For more on this, let's bring in CBS News legal analyst Kim Whaley. She's also the author of the new book, What You Need to Know About Voting and Why. Kim, nice to see you again. So the Supreme Court was unanimous in this ruling. Justice Elena Kagan wrote for the court, quote, "The Constitution's text and the nation's history both support allowing a state to enforce an elector's pledge to support his party's nominee and the state voter's choice for president." What is the significance of this ruling?
The significance of this ruling is to make very clear that the voting process in the United States really boils down to what states want. So if a state were to say to its electors, if you do not vote according to the popular vote that decides to whether the votes will go to a Democrat or an elected, a Republican slate. If you don't do that, we will fine you. In this instance, it was up to $1,000 fine. The Supreme Court said not only can states basically tell their electors how they must vote in the Electoral College, but they can fine them if they don't comply with what the state wants. And so what it basically means is electors can't sort of go renegade and decide we are going to exercise our own discretion to cast our ballots in a way that's inconsistent with the popular vote of that particular state.
Well, what was the argument against laws punishing faithless electors?
Well, the argument was really a historical one. The idea that for many, if you look back in time, there's one instance, I think, where it was, a serious defection. There have been times where electors have said, we have exercised our own discretion. We can change our minds and do it the way we believe it should be done. And I think the argument goes to why would we have an electoral college if there weren't some level of discretion there. The problem is that the 12th Amendment changed the Constitution when it comes to the Electoral College and essentially baked into the system the two-party system without using those words. But essentially, the original Constitution allowed the electors to choose their top two candidates for president, and that didn't work historically. There was a couple ties that were problematic, and so the framers changed it and said, listen, we will allow the states to decide on the president, the ballot for president, and ballot for vice president. And basically, most states say if 51% of the vote goes for the Republican nominee, then all of the electors will go and vote according to the Republican Party's platform. Likewise, if 51% of the voters go for the Democratic nominee, then all of the electors will vote according to that party's platform. The wrinkle really here is, and the court only mentions this in a footnote, there are two states, Maine and Nebraska, which have decided, no, we don't want all the electors to go to whoever won 51 or more percent of the vote. They split it. They do proportional voting. So 51% might go to a Republican, and the other 49% of the electors would go to a Democrat. And there are a lot of people in this field, in the electoral field, that think that is a better way for states to divide up their electors because it's more consistent with the popular vote. A lot of people are upset about the Electoral College because we've seen multiple instances in history where the electoral vote is not consistent with the proportional vote, or the popular vote. But that really boils down to how the states tell their electors to vote in the Electoral College. And what this decision says is, guess what? The states get to decide that. So if voters don't like it, the answer is to go to their state legislators and say, we want you to tell you the Electoral College voters, or the electors, to vote differently in our state.
And Kim, how many states have laws like this?
Well, as the Supreme Court noted, 20 to 30, I can't remember the exact number, have the requirement that electors actually vote according to the popular vote. Only about 15 have a penalty. The Supreme Court had previously already held that states can dictate how electors can vote. But the question really here was, can the state also impose a penalty against electors if they don't vote consistent with what state law tells them to vote? And as I said earlier, the contrary argument is these are human beings. They should be allowed to make their own decisions as electors. The court rejected that. Reading the plain language of the Constitution said, listen, Article 2, when it talks about the Electoral College, is really vague. It's very open-ended. There's no mandate that limits the state's authority to dictate how the electors actually have to vote.
Right, so we are back, right? So it says the Supreme Court rules faithless electors can't go rogue at Electoral College. You know I'm going to say that again. Supreme Court rules faithless electors can't go rogue at Electoral College. Right? Now, again, you're avid watcher over here. We then talked about these Electoral College people, right? That this is really where the voting of the president takes place. Many people think that they're exercising their privilege to vote when it comes to president and vice president. Yeah, I know you don't remember when you was 13 years old and had to pass the Constitution test and what it said as to who actually votes for the president, right? It's not you. But they make you feel like you want to be a part of the process because, again, it's this is a psychological operations. But anyway, so there's 538 people who cast the actual vote, right? 538, right? That vote for the president. And guess what? They do this in December. Now, you come in November, and after you come in, they come in December, right? As part of Electoral College, they're not free agents, right? Must vote as the law of their state directs. And the Supreme Court had ruled Monday, right? So now they're saying that the federal court, or Supreme Court of the land, is now saying they cannot now be not free agents. And they have to vote as the laws of their state directs. Now, right there, keep that in mind. That's where the trick is at in the game, right there, right? Supreme Court rule, as you see, can't go rogue, meaning they can't go astray, can't do, they got to do according to what the rule states in their states. Now it says the unanimous decision in the faithless electors, this case, was a defeat for advocates changing the Electoral College, right? Now, those who were out there thinking that they were going to use this as a way to change, because a lot of people want to abolish the Electoral College because they believe that they don't really have no place. But like I said, you got to look at it like this. People, it's kind of like saying, and I used an analogy before, and many times I'll do sometimes reheat a lot of them. But if I got $5,000, $10,000, $12,000 in my pocket, and we all kicking it, and nobody got no money, am I going to sit here and allow y'all to dictate how I'm going to spend my money? Like you said, we're going to go here, we're going to go do this, we're going to do that, and I'm just going to let y'all, splurge my money according to the way y'all want? Or am I going to set the rules? So that's what you're going to have to look at this. I think this was what the parameters it was set for, right? And so we see that again, those who advocate electing the predators a nationwide popular vote. So they wanted to shift from it being in the hands of the electors to the hands of the people, the nationwide. But as I gave you the analogy, that's how they're looking at it. Those who got money and power and, saying control, you're going to allow the control-less to abdicate your control and your power. Now, from a moral stance, you would say, no, it's not right. But are these people morals? Right? Do they have morals, right? Anyway. So, but it was a state win, right? For the electoral officials who feared the empowering rogue electors would cause a chaos. So what happens is they took the Supreme Court ruling, allow for the states to now intervene to control where before the electors could do according to what they want, right? Now, writing for the court was a justice name, I think her name was Alina Kagan, right? Now, according to what she said, the Constitution gives state far-reaching authorities over choosing presidential electors, right? That includes the power to set conditions on an elector's appointment. That is to say, what the elector must do for the appointment to take effect, right? But she also wrote that there's nothing in the Constitution that expressly prohibits states from taking away president electors' voting discretion, right? So that means that a state can have it where you don't have to follow suit, like, let's say, California might be different from, let's say, Washington. Washington may be different from Oregon. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be reciprocal throughout the land. It's according to how the states want to, contrive it, right? And so what the electors must do for the appointment. Okay, so again, the ruling aligns with the trust of the nations that here we the people rule, right? So those people who've been elected by the people that would think that they would do right by the people and do the right things so that you won't have, as they say, that will cause chaos. So again, as we know that in the November general election, it's not actually the direct vote for presidential candidates. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people actually think they're exercising their right to vote. You even have people who get on us, vote or die. Our people died to vote. Your local elections, your, governors and, judge that. But when it comes to that seating that president, that's not what it does, right? So what they say that what you actually do, right? You choose a slate of electors appointed in their states by the political parties. I'm saying that again. What you actually do is you choose a slate of electors appointed in their states by the political parties, right? Now again, those electors, they meet in December. They cast their ballots. The count is during the joint session in Congress that goes in January. So actually, the president don't become official, right? Don't become official until when? January, right? And so what the court opinion has said is that the presidential electors must act as their state require. Now remember, that's the whole key. Keep that in mind. It's the state. And so most of the nation means voting for the candidate who won the popular vote in their state. Right? Now again, you voting, but you're only voting for the electors that you don't even know who it is. But the parties are putting their electors there and you're voting for them. So they would normally stick with the party that they represent. But in two states that they talked about Maine and Nebraska, they said the president electors are guided by the votes of the congressional district. See, different states have different rules. So you have to know the rules in the state that which you are in. Right? So it also says that if the court had ruled in the other way, let's say it didn't come down with this, ruling that it did as the Supreme Court rules, that they can't go rogue. What you have is individual electors who decide to vote as they wish, as they were doing prior anyway. Matter of fact, if we go back when I did the show, maybe in 2019 or 18, where they talked about the Supreme Court said that there was no rules that made the electors have to abide by the popular vote. Now they're coming back now. They're trying to clean it up now, right? They're cleaning it up now because this coming down to something, right? It's coming down to something. And so they wish that, they said, now again, individual electors who decide to vote as they wish in a close race could potentially have the power to decide who wins, right? So if it's a close race, talking about popular wise, and if it may be somebody who personally they don't want to choose, again, they give, they'll talk about examples as well. Right? That when you talk about, to show you the example that they talked about there was 4 faithless electors, one out of Colorado, one in Washington State, and in the 2016 election, going back to when Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton, right? And these I think it was the popular vote in 2016. Remember, Hillary Clinton supposedly had won the popular vote, right? And the election sued, claiming that the states can regulate only how electors are chosen, but not how they come later. So meaning they had sued saying, hey, they're supposed to follow suit. The popular vote went to me, so you're supposed to vote for me. But they didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? They didn't do that. And so what they did is they talked to this Harvard law professor named Larry Lessig, who advocates for electoral college reform. He said there's nothing in the Constitution that gives states any authority to restrict how an elector can vote. There's nothing in the Constitution that says that, even though they saying what they're saying, right? Because they act in federal rules when meeting at electoral college, right? So the states can't still have override on them because it's a federal thing, Instead of voting for Hillary Clinton, they did in 2000, right? What they did, again, they talk about in Colorado, she won the popular vote, but they said Michael Baca, who was the elector at that time, he cast his votes for John Kasich, was it Kasich? I think they Kasich. Well, I think his name is Kasich, right? Right. That was the former Republican governor of Ohio, and then it was in Washington State where Clinton won on the popular vote. 3 of the states, 12 electors voted for Colin Powell. Right? They didn't want to vote for her. Right? And this is how we got Donald Trump. But again, just with that in itself, because see, a lot of them, those electors, they knew all the other things in the background, right? When it was dealing with talking about Hillary Clinton, right? And so what they doing now is they trying to go ahead and get this sealed and fixed because this can create chaos in the end. If somebody wins, right, and everybody think he's supposed to lose, kind of like when the night when everybody who thought Hillary Clinton, when they went to, they kept saying, there's no way he needs this, and this in order to win. They would come all these different configurations to try to say the only way he could win. Your ass went to sleep and woke up the next morning and Donald Trump was your president. Right? All right, so they even believe that even with this decision that you send to the Supreme Court has ruled failures electors can't go rogue at the Electoral College, they say this might be fluff. They believe that the court has misinterpreted or has interpreted the Constitution correct. They say they believe the court has interpreted the Constitution. See, again, the court has to interpret what they believe to be. That's why there's never nothing so concrete as to the truth when it comes to that. It always keeps changing, right? So they believe they got it right this time, right? And so they believe this uncertainty has been removed. So they think that this here will solve the issue. But guess what? I got another one before I finish that up. So the Supreme Court had ruled back in 1952 that states do not violate the Constitution when they require electors to pledge that they will abide by the results of the popular vote. But the justices have never before said whether it's constitutional to enforce those pledges, right? So that's what you heard in the video where she's saying, well, these are human beings. These are, people who have their own will, free thought. So is it unconstitutional to take that aspect to what they want to do? Now that we understand that you done got programmed the people to believe that the popular vote is what really is picking, but the true game is the electors. And if they so choose according to what they that's what their seat is to do, they don't have to go with what you're doing. But then the people, the masses who don't understand that, it could turn this shit in chaos. So does that also allow for people to actually be paid off behind closed doors, right? So look about all this other time going on before with electors being who they were. Some of the biggest money could pay mugs up to get the vote from them, right? We've seen a couple of times in history where somebody has not won the popular vote and still won. George Bush won too, right? When they talk about Florida and that whole thing and recounting the Chads and all that, he won. He didn't win the popular vote. He won the Chad vote. He won the Electoral College vote, right? All right. So they hope that this controversy would encourage more states to adopt a system in which they would assign all their electors to the candidate who wins the nationwide popular vote. So now the question becomes this. And let me tell you this last part too, which is that more than a dozen states have signed an interstate agreement to make the change. Only 12. It would take effect once the participating states represent at least 270 electoral college votes, the minimum need to be elected president. Now, so here is the game that you got to pick up on all this that I just talked about. Yes, the Supreme Court has came out and ruled that the faithless electors can't go rogue. Yes, the states can set a, let's say, That's it. They can set a mandate that says that you have to follow by according to what the state law says. But then there's a conflict as to the individual being an individual and a human that has a right to choose on his own. Right? And whether it's that constitutional or not. Then all the states have not got on board with it, which means it leaves the door open already. And it says that according to the stipulations, you got to have at least 270 of the electoral college votes that are, who wants to do that so that it can be the one that chooses the president to oversee the rest that do not in order for all that to be valid. So guess what, y'all? The faithless electors still going to do what they going to do unless that state that they in has set that proceedings. And even if they should do it after the fact, they still going to go to court, but the person to be in. So guess what? Hold on to your hat, baby. We going for a ride. Huh? We going on a ride after that November, y'all. So take heed to it. You heard it here. Black Minds News. That is something to be coming very soon. All right. I got one more for you. We're going to call this a show. Let's see. Check this out. I did one part to it, and they said something. Let me show you this, and then we ended on there. Check this out.
We begin tonight with the Department of Homeland Security being called to Gettysburg National Cemetery today. There are reports of tense situations with protesters. WGL News Ace Jeremy Jenkins spoke to one of them and has more on what happened.
There was one person that had a disagreement with others, and then to prevent the situation from escalating, the person voluntarily left after Homeland Security came by and asked them if they wanted to go ahead and leave.
This gentleman who talked to us off camera was one of two visitors at the cemetery this morning. At the opposite end of the national resting place was another man who was paying his respects when he said he encountered other visitors. One of them, a supporter of the Black Lives Matter movement.
I then walked up to the other gate where I saw a guy in discussion with them who other people had said that was creating conflict.
Police escorted that individual out before we arrived, but as we continued walking around, people were still on guard, many carrying around handguns and rifles. Scott Hancock and his family had a brief encounter with them.
Some of them were polite, some of them were angry and yelling things at us, my wife, my daughter.
Hancock was placing Black Lives Matter signs outside of the monuments to educate people about the movement. He said his efforts were not well received.
A group of bikers followed us for about 2-3 miles, took pictures of our license plates. Were telling us that we listened to too many lesbians, telling my friend and I, who's also African American, that we needed to get our welfare checks.
While everyone I spoke to said they had the intention of educating and honoring history today, it seems that none of the groups could do it together. In Gettysburg, Jeremy Jenkins, WGA.
All right, so we are back, right? Armed militia flocks to Gettysburg to foil flag-burning protests. That was all. Oh, you know I'm going to say that again. Armed militia flocked to Gettysburg to foil flag-burning protests. That was all a hoax. That word again, hoax, right? Now, the other show, that those who might have seen the show before, looked like only got about 40 views. Ain't that about a damn bitch? And that was posted long before everybody. Anyway, don't make no difference. It is what it is. We're gonna get that check eventually, right? So anyway, so what that show showed is when you had the group that went out there as to be in opposition at Stone Mountain, because it was told to them that they were going to be out there to do flag burning and they want to be in there to make their stance. And again, I don't know if it was going to be no shoot off or nothing, but that was just everything was to be confronted. They came out there deep as they did, and come to find nobody showed up, right? They was there on their own, right? So check this out. So obviously there was a mixed signal. Or did somebody figure that we're going to take this and go here? Because, again, a lot of people say they didn't want that smoke. So what you're seeing here is that you see they call them the armed right-wing militia group. They descended on the Gettysburg, Pennsylvania over the weekend, right? Over there, right? In a bid to protect the historic town from a flag-burning protest that never occurred. And likelihood a fake event advertised on social media, as I was saying, right? Now, what you had is dozens of militia members. Some say they came as far away as Delaware. They came to the site of the pivotal Civil War battle in 1863, right? And this fascist group planned to protest there over the 4th of July on the national holiday. And according to the rumors that were talked about online, it appears that this post that led everybody to believe where they were going was from a group named Left Behind USA, right? Promised event where attendees would be burning flags and protests of thugs and animals in blue, right? And to deter, and now they deleted the message, right? So Left Behind USA. So is that what they're saying, that somebody got them to go over there, to go over to Gettysburg, thinking that they would go there and desecrate and burn flags, and they went out there in protest of that, right? And so according to the post says organizers would be giving away free small flags to children, safely thrown into the fire. The local Antifa organizers deny an involvement in the event, which they describe as a complete fabrication, right? They denied, said, we didn't know nothing about it. We didn't have nothing to do with that. Why would we do that, right? So it said no Antifa groups have planned a rally there that day. And according to the representative for the Central PA of the Antifa, right? And they also talk about the biographical details provided by the representatives from the Left Behind USA group did not match any official documents. So nobody, because, again, in order to go protest, you got to, you got to file for that, right? So there were no documents on none of that, right? But nonetheless, it said dozen militia members and far-right protesters descended on the town's national cemetery on Saturday, right? Heavily armed, right? So they pulled a hoax on them, right? And so what we see is that one man, his name was Mike Boyer, he said, we will defend everybody's right to fight for freedom of speech. We want everybody to have a voice because we think we all participate in building this nation, but everyone's lives matter. End of story, right? See how for everybody, but it can't be Black Lives Matter. Everybody's lives matter. That's a given. The only reason why you have to be specific about something because the person who's being specific is being outcast. It should be a given that all lives, but obviously in the game that's being played, all lives don't count. So the one who's being ostracized out of it is saying, hey, what about where am I cut at? Right? You know what I'm saying? I say, closed mouth don't get fed and the squeaky door don't get no oil. Huh? Anyway. Now, reports indicate that the right-wing protesters confronted one man who was wearing a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. Now, somebody came along, hey, got on a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, right? And he came into the cemetery. According, he was coming there to pay respects to his ancestors. Now, we in the Gettysburg Cemetery, right? Black man with a Black Lives Matter shirt just came out of right? Right? He just happened to be coming there that he was, again, was he there? Was it regular people buried in there? But anyway, so, okay. And so what goes on is the man, his name is Trent Sums, right? Now, he claimed he was surrounded by 50 militia members who quizzed him about his t-shirt, right? Now, we seen the other day that I put on the show where all them brothers and sisters was out there suited and booted. Why didn't they go to Stone Mountain? If you want that smoke, you could have went to Stone Mountain. No, they went to Gettysburg Cemetery, right? They went over there. They went away from them. They didn't want to go over there. They didn't want that smoke. A lot of people keep saying they didn't want that smoke. But here they was. I didn't hear anything about the suited and booted brothers walking up people who might have had a mega hat or Make America Great. I didn't hear none of that. I didn't hear nobody wrote none of that. But here they is. One dude coming to Black Lives Matter. They all surrounded them up. Right? And matter of fact, he had to be helped removed out of there by Homeland Security. Now, was Homeland Security, what was Homeland Security being there? So, if Homeland Security is there watching them, then maybe what happened was whoever dropped in that message about where people was going to be, maybe it was them diverting so that it wouldn't be nothing. You get what I'm saying? Maybe they was the one that dropped in the information that had you go over here and you go over there, and that way y'all didn't meet up. It could have been what it is, right? Right? So they took the man out and protected his safety so that he wouldn't get in, right? Maybe that's what happened there, right? Maybe that's what happened. But, we got to look at it like this. All thing that's been said, and we're talking about that electoral college who have the final say, where everybody right now is in a battle. When you're talking about politically right now, again, for black people, it's like, ain't no choice. Ain't no choice in this shit. But for all the other people who are feeling, fragile mind and want to think that the boogeyman, if you get rid of Trump out of here and give you Biden, is going to be better. What if you go to sleep this time again like 2016, based on these fateless electors, may come up with another game and show you something else? What happens then? Do this place go up? Something people need to sit down and think about, man. This the long chess game? Is where it's going to happen at? Because no matter how you slice this cake, somebody ain't going to get what they want. And in this case, we the ones that's out of the loop because, again, everybody know what we talking about, right? You know what we talking about, right? You know what we asking for, right? And, if mothers ain't, you ain't talking about that, then what really is they talking about, right? What are you really talking about? And so I just wanted to present this in the way that I did because, again, got people out here trying to say that certain things is not real. It's a figure of our imagination. It's all a lie. It's all a damn hoax. But this shit is coming to a culmination. It's getting to a point, right? We're in July right now, right? Shit. August next month. September, October, November, right? The day everybody gonna go out there thinking that what they doing. But if who they watching ain't telling them that, hey, the game is where the state is right now. If you ain't getting there getting that state to make them stick to what they're supposed to, in the end, you might be getting something that you didn't pick. And how you gonna handle that is how, whether how those two groups are suited and booted, ready to get it in. You know what I'm saying? You may have a whole country go down like that because there's so many things there's so many things happening. Black people, gay people, feminist groups, white men. So again, if this is somebody's chess move, we have to be aware, man. They're talking about gun sales all up and all that. That's why the other day I put in there to show you that, you got black people who got organizations out here. If that's something that you're interested in, they got facilities and all that other stuff. We don't know where this is going. You like to think that, people can work stuff out, but you got to also look at the other side of that coin. You got to they stay ready so you don't have to be getting ready, right? Stay ready so you don't have to be getting ready. So, I want to thank everybody for watching this show, clicking on it. Thank you kindly. Ready to do that, sir? So we get up out of here. There we go. All right. So once again, I want to thank everybody for clicking on the video. And hopefully that, make your comments out there, subscribe, share. Just know that, when you see your brother, greet your brother. What's good, brother? What's good, brother? When you see your sister, what's good, sister? What's good, brother? If you can't do that much, just at least give a universal nod. You know how that nod we do when we see each other? Understand that we living in a day and time with a crossroads. We at a crossroads, y'all. I mean, not just us, this country. I heard today before I came on that the death of democracy. Like, oh, wow, really? Like, is it really the devil, or is it just, a change they gotta have to, so that live up to the creeds of the words that you say? So, a lot of people in opposition. Rudolph told you they ain't trying to share with you. No knowledge, no money. You could be on a street corner looking for a job. All that, right? Ain't trying to help you at all. And some people believe that if we keep those traditions and symbolic things and act as if like certain things don't exist, somewhere just go away or die out. But you don't remedy it, right? As the white man said in the beginning, God has told you, your brother has an ought with you. Don't try to come to me praying and supplement, acting as like you righteous when you know what you've done. First go take care of that, then come back to me. But if you don't do that, all that stuff that one try to say is innocent and caring as we pretend to be, all your works and all that you try to do will be for nothing. Again, I'm your host, Mr. Blows Your Minds, and this has been another Black Minds News production. To the next show, y'all. To the next show.